Hello again, friends. Today we're doing an unboxing of Task Force Ranger, Somalia to Afghanistan by Texas Games. I'm being assisted by the young and lovely
Emma,
and she will help us walk through our game. Now let's see what's inside the box. Alright, we'll start with the rule set. It's a nice soft touch and spiral bound, as are all our rule sets. I'm the Colonel, for those of you that haven't met me before. I've written several rule sets, Zulu, Skirmish, and this of course is Task Force Ranger. The intro and the background here includes some information on what I was doing during Task Force Ranger and how I tried to help them. Concept of play, the rules, order of play, dice, things that don't come with the game obviously. Tokens do. Unit structures covered, and that's for all kinds of units. Our primary structure that we use inside this rule set is Ranger Chalks. And all our chalks operate basically on a team basis. The rules are easy to follow, easy to play. It's all card driven. Some of the cards here will have little flags in the upper left hand corner that are kind of Afghanistan or Somalia specific. For Iraq you can kind of mix and match as you choose. We've got everything from, you can play this game solo of course, or you can play with up to 5 people in a 4x4 area. You can expand that to a really large area if you choose. When we've done Black Hawk Down with this, yeah, we've used a huge tabletop area and a lot of teams going in and playing. So it can be expanded up or played small. You can have a player run enemy, or you can just play against the cards in the machine, which we call automa for all our systems. Terrain's covered in here, all kinds of things about terrain. Of course, detailed order of play. Throughout our rule set, we have little reference pages in brown that are easy to find. So for example, if you wanted to deal with movement, you would say, hey, okay, go to page 20, and that'll give you more details on how to do actual movement of your teams. Game cards, of course, like I mentioned before, drive the game. Lots of illustrations both on cards and on typical units. You can even use Bradley fighting vehicles if you want to in our system. It all works very easily. Lots of stuff that's unique. For example, enemy entry. We use a clock method. You roll 2 dice. One die will tell you which side of the table the enemy enters on, and then the second die will tell you at what position on the clock, whether from 12 to 6 or from 7 to 12. So it's pretty easy. It's very easy. Roll 2 dice, it happens quickly. Team actions. Again, most of our actions are team driven. Some will be individuals, and those are of course covered here too. Everything from Overwatch to movement. Your typical things you'll be doing will be movement, Overwatch, and shooting. So there are about 10 things you can do, and if you can think of it, we've probably got it in the rule set for you. How to use dice, why we recommend multiple colored dice. How to clear buildings, anything from door kicking to going rapidly building a building and floor to floor. Let's see what we got else here. Individual actions, as I mentioned before, for example, how to perform first aid on somebody. No man left behind, some basic rules for people to understand how the military works. Pesky details to include all those attachments and replacements you may have, anything from, of course, a medic, which we recommend, to a sniper, to a interpreter, often called a terp, to a commander that may improve some of your stats, all laid out in your cards. How body armor works for U.S. forces. When we get to Afghanistan, a lot of allied forces will use that too, but primarily in Somalia it'll just be your U.S. forces. The core is kind of your enemy activity and what we call enemy attack cards. Also, you have a thing called the enemy reserve, which you'll manage even while you're playing solo. As enemy forces withdraw or retreat, they fall back often to the enemy reserve and may come back in later into play. We've got, of course, dog handlers, a lot of fun. How to do your helos. We track helo entry and exit on a helo tracker card. Anything from hidden units to proximity damage. That template that we include in the game helps you rapidly figure out if your people are in danger close or are going to suffer proximity damage or not. Snipers, of course, fast movers, arcs of fire. Some suggestions on this helps you set up your game, I think. A few suggestions on, hey, we recommend you get these cards ready. You're going to use them almost every time, and here's why. Campaigns make this game really a lot of fun. We have some forms in here you can use. You'll track promotions, who are your named characters, who aren't, and then you can compare at the end of your campaign who ran the better teams or squad, or in our case we call them chalks. Record your missions. We have up to 6 scenarios that are already given here. Not up to, we have 6. They range from Somalia to Iraq and Afghanistan. Some are rather famous, like Rogers Ridge, so a lot of stuff here. Let's see what else we got. GI terms. For those people that aren't familiar with some of our military terms, this may help you a little tiny bit. Acknowledgements. I can't thank my playtesters too much. They are absolutely great guys. Put a lot of time and a lot of ideas came from them, of course. Playtesting is what makes these games great. A little bio on me. Our index. Now this is fun. On our index, a lot of times when you go to look something up, it's hard to find what you're looking for. For example, armor, there's a lot of pages listed, but here's one page listed in brown. And what we've done is the key page that everything kind of operates off with the basic elements for this rule. For armor, for example, we found on page 13. Excuse me. Other pages that are associated to it are also listed, so if you want to look around and look for that little detail maybe you couldn't find. But often you'll find it all on that one single page. That's our rule set. Easy to play, easy to follow. Takes probably about 15 minutes to learn, and you can have a blast with this thing. Those people that are military veterans often say this game is intense, and it is. It puts you right back in the field and in the dust. So the rule set. Let's go. Okay, cards. First deck we want to look at, of course, is our command deck. Inside the command deck we have cards for 2 chalks. The chalks are divided up into teams. So we have command teams, weapons teams, rifles teams. We also have an option for delta teams, which you can use your SOF or your SEALs for. We have attachments. All kinds of attachments, snipers, drone operators, company commanders, dog handlers, medics, EOD teams, vehicles, anything from more modern ones, I imagine you would have to say, probably more lately used, LATVs, MRAPs, Strykers, Bradleys, things that use in Somalia, for example, the 113, the M48 tanks, Condor APCs, Humvees. A card to help you determine damage on buildings, so you choose buildings as opposed to personnel. Helo tracker, of course, the enemy ready reserve card. Our helos you're going to find would be anything from Little Birds, Blackhawks, Apaches, and Chinooks. To damage, and on the back of the damage card is a to hit, so to hit, to damage. Very easy to figure out what you're shooting at and then how to hit it and what it takes to hit it. Enemy entry cards, command decks. What you're always going to do is pull out a set number of cards, as explained to you, of course, in our rule set, and then you'll take that card set and go ahead and begin setting up your units. Okay, that's the first deck. All right, let's talk about our next set of decks. Here we have what's called enemy activity cards or decks and enemy attack cards. They're divided into 2 different types. For our command or kernel set rather, we actually have an additional enemy activity versus light deck included. We recommend that whenever you play with more than 1 chalk, you try to use an additional deck. It gives you the proper flow of the game. Also a lot more fun that not to run out of these cards, which you can do if you're running multiple chalks rather quickly. So more of these decks is always good. 2 is good. If you want to run a really big game, then yeah, make sure every chalk has their own enemy activity versus light deck. These decks are for flavor text primarily, but they're all numbered. And we use those numbers to determine when we're going to have an enemy attack. So in this case, for example, Sarge has a bad feeling. All teams this chalk. No dash for this game turn. 3. Whereas Lieutenant has a bad feeling. Nobody really is concerned about that. There's some humor. Army humor. You have to enjoy that. There's 3 points total. Here's an old man that's watching. It's got a question mark on it. That means you can interact with this guy. Here's another one that says approaching small arms fire. Now we hit a total of 6. We pick up these cards, 5 being the magic number. Once you hit 6, all of them are picked up. They go to a discard pile, and then we'd go to an enemy attack deck. And in this case, we have an RPG squad attack. This would outline exactly how far your unit shows up from you. We use the card, as we showed earlier, to show where on the clock method they enter. Then it shows what weapon systems the team members have for this team. Each of these cards has a different team, as you can see. This is for light forces. Here's mech forces. So now we're talking about what would be attacking them. And these are generally speaking things that are attacking the mech, or things that can usually do damage to them. We have snipers, we have motorcycle shooters, all kinds of things that can pop up inside a deck like this. Here's some of your specialty cards, either for Afghanistan or for Somalia. That's fun. Actually, it's kind of a kick playing this game. And then for aircraft, you know, here we are, ka-ting, 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 and abort mission. So there's all kinds of things that can happen during the game that are pretty realistic. It makes you feel like you're back there in the dust, like the man said. So wipe off the moon dust, and let's move on to the next decks. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is not really a deck. It's your marker set. Some people call them tokens. We call them markers for the most part. They come with a box, as do all of the deck sets. After you cut these out, we recommend you cut them out with an X-Acto knife as opposed to punch them out. You get cleaner punches. And then they'll look something like this, all inside a box for your game. Your other decks all fit. You get 6 boxes all together into their own card boxes. You can put both decks inside one of these card boxes. All of these card boxes, including your command teams, your aviation, etc., all fit nicely inside of your game box. Our last item in the kernel set is the 4-inch template. Easy for some weapon systems that actually require this template, and for determining proximity damage when the unit is shot at, whether or not that unit within proximity may be affected by that arms fire. All these items, of course, fit inside the Task Force game box. It's a really nice set. You can also choose to go and ease into the system by getting what's called the Captain set, which will basically, as I mentioned earlier, gives you the light enemy activity and enemy attack decks, as well as the rule set and a set of markers to get you started. And then get what's called the Captain to Kernel set, which will actually then give you the full set that goes in this box. We happen to really like this system. I think this is one of the best rule sets I've ever written. It's really a lot of fun to play, and it's very realistic. So if you want to get out there and feel like you're in the mix, this is your rule set. Thank you very much for watching.